There was a janitor named Ronald Reed who spent his whole life mopping floors and pumping gas. He never made more than minimum wage. He wore the same worn-out jacket for years and drove a truck that looked like it belonged in a scrapyard. When he died in 2014, people found out he had $8 million saved. Now put that next to a different guy, a sharp engineer who helped build early wireless technology, brilliant on paper. He carried thick stacks of cash around just to show people. He once handed a valet person a pile of money and told him to go buy gold coins, then threw those coins into the ocean just to watch them skip across the water for fun. Years later, he was broke, completely broke. Same world, same access to opportunity, wildly different outcomes. So what happened? Here's the truth Morgan Housel built an entire book around. Doing well with money has almost nothing to do with how smart you are. It has everything to do with how you behave. Finance isn't rocket science. It's a soft skill, closer to psychology than math. And that is actually great news for you, because it means you don't need a genius-level IQ to get ahead. You just need better habits than the guy throwing gold coins into the sea. Lesson 1. Stop hunting for a secret strategy and start looking at your own behavior. The janitor didn't have a system nobody else knew about. He just saved consistently and left his money alone. That's it. If your finances feel stuck, the fix usually isn't a new hack. It's fixing the habit that's quietly draining you every single week. Lesson 2. The Ferrari nobody actually notices. Picture someone rolling up in a brand new sports car. Your first thought is probably, wow, that person must feel amazing right now. Here's the twist. Nobody is admiring the driver. They're imagining themselves behind the wheel. The driver becomes invisible. This happens with watches, handbags, big houses, all of it. You think the purchase buys you respect. Mostly it just buys other people a moment of wanting what you have. So before your next big purchase, ask yourself one honest question. Am I buying this because I need it, or because I want people to feel a certain way about me? If it's the second one, keep your money and put it towards something that actually gives you freedom later. Lesson 3. Most of your attempts will flop, and that's completely fine. Every successful business owner you admire has a graveyard of failed ideas behind them. Most of their products didn't sell. Most of their pitches got rejected. Most of their side projects went nowhere. But the handful that worked ended up carrying everything else. This is just how building anything works. Most of your videos will get barely any views before one takes off. Most of your first customers will come from the one idea you almost gave up on. The lesson isn't to avoid failing. It's to keep taking swings long enough that your one big win can cover every miss before it. Lesson 4. Time rewards the person who starts early, not the person who starts smart. Imagine two people who both start a small side business. Same skills, same effort. One starts at 20. The other starts at 40 with the exact same plan. 20 years later, the early starter isn't just further ahead, they're miles ahead, because every year they had extra time to reinvest profits, refine their systems, build relationships, and let small improvements stack on top of each other. It's not talent that separates them. It's the years the first one didn't waste waiting for the perfect moment. If you haven't started building something yet, the best time was years ago. The next best time is today. Lesson 5. You're not crazy, and neither is your family. Your friend thinks you're reckless for wanting to start a business. Your parents think you're careless for not taking the safe path. Here's the truth nobody tells you. Every money decision makes complete sense to the person making it because it's shaped by what they've personally lived through. Someone who watched their dad lose a stable job will value security above everything. Someone who grew up broke might spend the second they get paid just to feel in control for once. None of you are wrong. You're just running on different life experience. So stop trying to explain your goals to people who didn't live your story. Just say, that works for you, this works for me, and keep moving. Lesson 6. Greed is the quiet wealth killer. Picture a business owner who built something solid enough to never worry about money again. Real freedom. Instead of protecting that, They start cutting corners to grow faster, lying to investors, promising things they can't deliver, chasing a bigger number that was never actually going to change their life. Eventually, it all collapses and they lose everything, including their reputation. The hardest financial skill isn't earning more, it's knowing when you already have enough. Before your next big risky move, ask yourself honestly, am I risking something I already have and need just to get something I don't actually need? Lesson 7. Luck plays a bigger role than your ego wants to admit. Bill Gates happened to attend one of the only high schools in the world with access to a computer back in the 70s. Incredible luck. His closest friend, Kent Evans, was just as sharp, just as driven, and could have easily built something huge alongside him. Kent died in a mountaineering accident before he ever got the chance. Same talent, same opportunity, completely different outcome, purely because of luck. When things go right for you, you feel brilliant. When they go wrong, you feel like a failure. The truth sits somewhere in between. You can't control luck, but you can control how long you survive the bad kind. That's what an emergency buffer is for. A separate pot of savings, untouched, just sitting there, waiting for the day things go sideways. Lesson 8. Getting money and keeping money are two completely different skills. Think about someone who builds a business that explodes in popularity almost overnight. Money pours in, they spend it just as fast, upgrading everything, expanding too quickly, assuming the growth will never slow down. Then trends shift, and it all disappears within a couple of years. Getting money takes optimism and risk. Keeping money takes caution and humility, the boring stuff nobody posts about. Chase growth when you're building. Once you're ahead, shift into protecting what you've built. Lesson 9. Money's biggest reward isn't stuff, it's control over your time. Waking up and being able to say, "I'm doing what I want today," beats any car or vacation. Most people spend their money the wrong way, buying bigger houses and nicer things that quietly add more bills and more pressure. What they should be buying is freedom. Freedom from a boss you dread. Freedom from checking your phone on a Sunday night with dread in your stomach. Try this. Track everything you spend purely to look successful for 1 month. Add it up. That number is what your image is currently costing you. Lesson 10. Real wealth is invisible. There was a guy named Roger who used to pull up in a shiny sports car. Everyone assumed he was doing great. Then one week he showed up in a beat-up old car instead. Turns out the sports car had been repossessed the whole time. He looked rich. He wasn't. Compare that to Ronald the janitor, who looked broke his whole life and quietly had millions. Wealth is the upgrade you didn't buy. It's the dinner out you skipped. It's money sitting quietly, growing calm and boring in the background. What you see people flashing is usually spending, not wealth. Spending money means it's already gone. Lesson 11. Here is the one rule almost everyone ignores. Getting rich isn't really about earning more. It's about keeping more of what you already earn. You can make $200,000 a year and still be broke if you spend $210,000. You can make $40,000 and build real wealth if you consistently spend less than that. You control your spending far more than you control your income. Find $200 in last month's spending that didn't actually improve your life. Then move it straight into a separate savings account every single month without thinking about it. Lesson 12. You don't need to be perfectly logical, just reasonable. Sometimes the mathematically ideal choice and the choice that actually lets you sleep at night are two different things. Picture someone who pays off a debt early, even though on paper that money could have technically been used elsewhere. It wasn't the optimal move by the numbers. But it removed the constant pressure of owing someone, and it let them breathe again. That's not a dumb decision. That's a reasonable one. Stop punishing yourself for not following the perfect textbook plan. You're a person with feelings, not a spreadsheet. Lesson 13. The past can't fully protect you from the future. Every disaster in history looked completely unthinkable right up until the moment it happened. People love studying old patterns to predict what's coming next, but the event that changes everything is always the one nobody saw coming. The answer isn't trying to predict the unpredictable. It's building enough of a cushion that you can absorb a shock without it wiping you out completely. Don't run your finances at full capacity. Leave room for life to surprise you, because it will. Lesson 14. The smartest people always build a plan B. Pilots carry backup fuel. Cars come with a spare tire. Most people never do the money version of this. They assume the raise is coming, the business will keep growing, nothing will go wrong. Then reality has other plans. Calculate what 6 months of your basic expenses would cost. Start putting something toward that number every month, even if it's small. It's boring money. It just sits there, but it's exactly what keeps you standing when your best laid plans fall apart. Lesson 15. You will not be the same person in 20 years. There's a guy who spent his entire teenage years desperate to become a doctor, worked brutally hard, finally made it happen. Ask him about it today, and the first words out of his mouth are, "Awful career, honestly." At 18, he couldn't picture the exhaustion. Psychologists call this the end of history illusion, where you assume your future self wants the exact same things your current self wants. You won't. Build plans flexible enough to bend when you change, because you will. Lesson 16. Not everyone is playing your game. Someone hustling for a quick win this month has completely different priorities than someone building something slow and lasting over 10 years. Both can be smart, but if you take advice from someone playing a faster, riskier game while you're trying to build something that lasts, their strategy might destroy you. Before taking anyone's financial advice, ask yourself what game they're actually playing and whether it matches yours. Lesson 17. Freedom always has a price, and the price is stress you don't see on the highlight reel. Building anything worthwhile comes with slow months, awkward setbacks, and moments where nothing seems to be working. People love talking about the wins. Nobody posts about the 18 months where it felt like nothing was happening. That discomfort isn't a sign you're failing. It's the entry fee for building something that eventually gives you your time back. Lesson 18. 6 rules that actually hold up. Stay humble when things go well, because luck played a part. Save money without needing a specific reason, because options matter more than plans. Structure your money in a way that helps you sleep, not in a way that looks impressive. Think in years, not weeks. Expect plenty of your ideas to fail, because a few big wins can cover all of them. And use your money to buy back your time, because that's the real reward. Lesson 19. The story in your head shapes your bank account more than the numbers do. During one hard economic stretch, almost nothing physically changed about the world. Same buildings, same skills, same people. Yet everyone suddenly told themselves a story that everything was collapsing. That story changed how people acted, spent, and took risks. The same happens to you personally. Tell yourself you're bad with money, and you'll act like it. Tell yourself you're improving, and you'll start noticing the proof. Lesson 20. Bad news travels faster than good news for a reason. Turn on the news, and it's crisis after crisis. Nobody makes a headline out of, "Things are slowly getting better for most people," because it's boring. Your brain is wired to pay far more attention to threats than to quiet progress. That kept your ancestors alive around actual danger, but it makes you overestimate how bad things really are today. Take a break from doom-scrolling money headlines for a month and check back in. The world usually isn't falling apart nearly as often as it sounds. Lesson 21. The real goal was never the biggest number, it was independence. Housel says he isn't going to tell you exactly what to do with your money, only what works for him. His own goal isn't maximum growth, it's waking up able to do what he wants, with who he wants. He and his wife live well below what they could technically afford. They paid off their home outright, probably not the most efficient move on paper, but it makes them feel unshakable, and that matters more to them than optimizing every dollar. Every decision they make gets filtered through one simple question: will this help us sleep better at night? If the answer is no, they skip it. Recap: behavior beats intelligence. Stop buying things to impress people who barely notice you anyway. Expect most attempts to fail and keep swinging. Start early, because time rewards patience more than genius. Stop judging other people's money decisions. Know when you already have enough. Respect luck and build a buffer for when it turns bad. Getting money and keeping money are different games entirely. Buy freedom, not stuff. Real wealth stays quiet. Spend less than you earn, always. Choose reasonable over perfectly optimal. Prepare for shocks you can't predict. Build a plan B before you need one. Expect to change and build room for that. Know whose advice actually applies to you. Accept that freedom costs discomfort first. Stick to a few simple rules instead of chasing perfection. Watch the story you tell yourself. Don't let fear headlines run your decisions. And remember, the whole point was never the number. It was always the freedom underneath it.